Hello there. I'm so glad you're here. Maybe today has been a long day full of thoughts, sounds, and small worries that never seemed to quiet down. But now, none of that matters anymore. You've arrived in a softer place, a small corner of the universe where everything slows down and the noise of the world begins to fade. Here, you don't need to think or try or plan. You just need to be exactly as you are. Take a slow, gentle breath. Feel the air moving in and out, steady and calm, like waves folding over a quiet shore. Let your shoulders loosen. Let your body sink a little deeper into where you rest. Gravity is holding you, the same force that cradles the oceans and carries the moon around the earth. You are already part of something vast, something that has been in motion since the beginning of time. Outside, the night stretches wide. Maybe you can't see the stars right now, but they're there waiting steady, patient. Each one spins on its axis, wrapped in light billions of years old. Every planet circles, every galaxy turns, and the whole universe hums softly beneath its breath. Even as you listen, you are moving too. The Earth is spinning beneath you at more than 1,000 miles per hour, gliding around the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour, and the entire solar system sails through the Milky Way at nearly 500,000 miles per hour. And yet, you feel still. Your heartbeat doesn't shake. The air doesn't tremble. The room around you doesn't stir. Everything feels calm and unmoving, as though the universe itself has paused to let you rest. But that stillness is an illusion, a kind one, a gentle one, because in truth, nothing ever stops moving. Not the earth, not the stars, not even the tiny atoms that make up your breath. Everything turns together, perfectly balanced, perfectly smooth, so seamless that you can't feel the motion at all. Maybe that's what peace really is. Not the absence of movement, but the harmony of it. The mountains, the oceans, the wind, your own pulse, all of it gliding in rhythm. You are a part of that rhythm and always have been. If you could see the earth from far away, it would look like a small blue marble turning silently in the dark, its clouds drifting like silk across its surface. Every moment you've ever lived has unfolded on that quiet, spinning world. So as you rest here, take another slow breath. Let your mind grow lighter, your thoughts drift farther, until all that's left is the faint hum of the cosmos moving beneath you. You are not still. You are floating, being carried through space by a planet that never stops turning. The silence you hear is not empty. It's full of motion, so smooth, so ancient, so perfectly gentle that it becomes peace. And tonight, as the earth continues its steady rotation, you can finally let go, close your eyes, and drift with it softly, endlessly into sleep. Have you ever wondered why we don't feel the earth moving beneath us? Why the ground seems perfectly still, even though we are riding on a planet spinning faster than sound itself? Right now, as you sit or lie there, you are gliding through space at more than 1,000 miles an hour, and yet your heartbeat doesn't change, your breath doesn't tremble, and everything feels so calm, so completely at rest. It's almost as if motion itself has learned how to disappear. The secret lies in something beautifully simple: inertia. In physics, inertia means that anything already in motion keeps moving unless something else forces it to stop or change. And so you, the air around you, the trees, the oceans and the mountains, Everything is spinning with the earth together, perfectly in sync. There's no sudden tug, no jolt, no break in the rhythm. It's motion so smooth, so steady, that our sense is built for smaller changes. For walking, running, falling can't even notice it. When you pour yourself a cup of tea on an airplane or a train, the liquid rests quietly in its glass, even though you're traveling hundreds of miles an hour. The reason you feel calm is not because you've stopped moving, but because everything around you is moving in harmony. The cup, the air, your body all share the same gentle motion. You and the world move together, like notes in a song too slow for the ear to hear. It's the same with the earth. Every atom of your body is traveling with it, swept along in its timeless spin. There's no friction to resist, no air in space to push against, no vibration to reveal the movement. The planet turns in silence, and silence hides its speed. You don't feel the motion because you are the motion part of the same flow that began billions of years ago when the earth was born. This shared motion creates an illusion, a perfect stillness that holds us gently, letting life unfold without interruption. The sky appears steady, the stars seem fixed, and your coffee remains perfectly still, even as the world spins beneath it. You could sit beneath a quiet night sky, look up at the moon, and never guess that you and it are locked in a slow cosmic dance, forever chasing one another through space. Imagine standing by the ocean at dawn. The waves move softly, the air cool against your skin. Everything feels calm, but beneath that calmness is motion. The water pulled by tides, the earth rotating toward the rising sun, the entire planet drifting through the Milky Way. And you standing there are part of it all, moving through an invisible current that never stops flowing. To feel motion, there must be change, a push, a pull, a start, or a stop. But the Earth's rotation has been constant for billions of years. It doesn't start or pause or shift. It simply continues as it always has. That's why it feels so peaceful. It's like being carried in your sleep, the world turning beneath you steady and unbroken, a lullaby made of gravity and time. Even astronauts in orbit describe the same stillness. They circle the planet every 90 minutes at over 17,000 miles per hour, yet inside their spacecraft, everything feels calm. No wind, no vibration, no weight to remind them of the speed. Just the soft hum of instruments and the glow of the earth drifting slowly below. When motion is constant, it becomes invisible. And in that invisibility, there is peace. If you listen closely now, you might feel it not with your skin or your muscles, but somewhere deeper in the quiet awareness that you are part of a larger rhythm. The earth turning the stars, moving the galaxy itself, spinning through the dark. Every moment of your stillness is woven from that great, unending movement. So take a slow breath. Let your thoughts drift with the turning world. You are safe inside this motion, carried gently by forces older than time. You don't have to feel it to know it's there. The silence around you is not empty. It's full of grace, full of movement, so smooth, so ancient, that it becomes stillness itself. And as you lie there breathing softly, remember you are not separate from the Earth's quiet rotation. You are part of it, a small, beautiful piece of a universe that never stops moving and never needs to hurry. Everything is already in motion. All you have to do is rest and let it carry you. If you ever want to see the Earth turning not through numbers or theories, but with your own quiet eyes, All you have to do is stand before a Foucault pendulum. It doesn't make a sound. It doesn't glow or spin or hum. It simply swings back and forth, slow and steady, like the rhythm of breath in a sleeping body. Yet as the hours pass, something almost imperceptible begins to happen. The ground beneath it, the floor you're standing on, has shifted ever so slightly. And though the pendulum never changed direction, the world beneath it has. This is one of the most delicate truths you can witness: motion made visible through stillness. The pendulum's path stays the same, but the earth turns beneath it, revealing the planet's ancient rotation in the gentlest way possible. It's as if time itself had decided to whisper, to show you the movement you've always been part of, but could never feel. Standing beside it, you begin to sense that stillness and motion are not opposites at all. They are partners dancing in silence. Imagine being alone in that quiet room, the faint echo of footsteps fading behind you. The pendulum moves in its slow arc, cutting through the air so softly that it barely stirs it. Every swing is perfect, patient, and unhurried gravity's own lullaby. You can almost hear it breathe. The thin wire shivers ever so slightly, the weight at its end shining dimly in the filtered light. It looks eternal, like it could keep moving long after everything else has stopped. And in a way it can, because that pendulum isn't just moving by itself, it's moving with the planet. Each swing is connected to the great rotation beneath your feet, to the same invisible motion that carries the oceans, the clouds, and the continents. The Foucault pendulum doesn't create movement, it reveals it. It's a mirror for something so vast and constant that we forget it's even there. If you watch long enough, the pattern on the floor will slowly shift, not because the pendulum decides to turn, but because the earth does. It's one of the few moments in life when you can feel the planet turning, not through your senses, but through patience, through quiet observation. It's like realizing the room you're in has been gliding through space the whole time, silently tracing its path around the sun. There's something deeply calming about that, the realization that even while everything in life seems to rush and change, there's a larger rhythm that never falters. The pendulum reminds us that motion doesn't always mean haste. The Earth's spin is ancient and steady, the same rhythm that has defined days and nights since the beginning of life. A slow turning that marks time not by clocks, but by light and shadow. That rotation is what gives us morning and evening, sunrise and twilight. It's what pulls the tides, what lets the wind travel across the seas. Even the magnetic field, that invisible shield protecting us from the sun's charged breath, exists because of the Earth's motion deep within its molten core. Everything alive on this planet depends on a spin we can't feel, a spin we can only see, reflected in small patient things like the quiet sway of a pendulum. Take a moment to imagine it now, the pendulum in motion, the air still, the ground beneath you slowly turning. Time moves differently here. Each swing becomes a reminder that the world is always moving, even when you are still. The calmness you feel isn't separate from motion. It is motion so smooth that it becomes serenity itself. If you were to close your eyes and listen, you might even sense it, the slow pulse of the earth beneath the hum of your own heartbeat. The two rhythms are one and the same, the planet's ancient turning, and your body's quiet breathing. Both are steady, both are life. So the next time you see a pendulum swinging silently in a museum, let it draw you in. Watch it move, without hurry, without end. It's not just a demonstration of physics, it's a meditation on stillness, a reminder of how gentle the universe can be when you slow down enough to see it. Because even as you drift towards sleep tonight, the earth will keep turning beneath the pendulum, beneath the oceans beneath you, always steady, always silent, always in motion, and in that endless graceful spin, everything finds its rhythm, including you. If you could drift back in time far beyond the stars, you see tonight far beyond the birth of the earth itself, you would find yourself floating in a vast, dark sea of gas and dust. It wasn't silent, not exactly, but the kind of quiet that comes before the first note of a song. In that silence, the universe was beginning to move. Clouds of hydrogen, cold and endless, started to gather, drawn together by gravity's soft, invisible hand. And as they fell inward, something beautiful began. They started to spin. That gentle spin was the universe's first whisper of order, the earliest trace of what we now call angular momentum, the tendency for anything in motion to keep turning, to conserve the rhythm it already has. The law itself is simple, but what it creates is infinite. As those ancient clouds collapsed, their spin grew faster and faster, like an ice skater pulling in their arms to turn more swiftly. The more they shrank, the quicker they rotated until the motion ignited the stars themselves. In that moment, light was born, a quiet flame inside a turning cloud, fusing atoms shining for the first time. Every star in the night sky carries that same memory, a swirl of gas that once spun fast enough to spark eternity. The planets that circle those stars, including our own, were shaped by that same momentum, carved from the leftover dust still spinning in orbit. Even now, billions of years later, the Earth's rotation and the dance of the moon trace back to that first cosmic spin. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The idea that the same law that turns galaxies is also the reason a child can twirl in a field and feel the world blur around them. Motion carries memory. The universe never forgets the moment it began to move. Every rotation we see, from the spin of a raindrop in the wind to the swirling arms of a distant galaxy, is a continuation of that ancient gesture. If you could see the early universe, you'd see not chaos, but rhythm, a soft, steady pull, spreading through everything. Dust becoming clouds, clouds collapsing into stars, stars gathering into galaxies, all turning like ripples on a cosmic sea. The Webb telescope captures faint glimmers of those first galaxies, their light traveling over 13 billion years to reach us. And even now, those fragile spirals show the same rotation, proof that the pattern was written into the fabric of the universe itself. There's something deeply comforting in that, to know that spin, this simple motion, connects everything from the smallest particle to the largest structure we've ever seen. It's like a universal heartbeat, slow and endless. The same principle that keeps a skater spinning keeps entire galaxies alive. The universe moves in circles, not lines. It turns folds, returns a dance without beginning or end. Imagine watching one of those early clouds collapse, a slow whirl, quiet, immense. Gravity tugs inward, matter gathers tighter, heat builds, and the spin quickens, not out of will, but out of balance, the graceful mathematics of nature at work. And then, in that tightening motion, a star is born. Around it, a disk of dust and rock swirls, each grain obeying the same ancient rule. Some clump together, forming planets. Some drift away, frozen and forgotten. But all of them spin endlessly, faithfully, beautifully. Even the Milky Way, our cosmic home, is part of that inheritance. Every time you look at the band of stars across the night sky, you're looking into a vast spiral, turning slowly one rotation every 200 million years. And inside that quiet whirlpool, the sun carries us along one small light, moving to the same eternal rhythm. As you lie here listening, you are also turning. The planet beneath you spins the moon circles above, and the galaxy drifts on through the dark. You are surrounded by motion so smooth, it feels like stillness. You don't need to feel it to know it's there. It's written into you too. The atoms in your body were once part of those early clouds, born from the same rotation that kindled the stars. So when you close your eyes tonight, remember you are made of movement, shaped by spin, carried by the same quiet rhythm that began before time had a name. Everything that turns from the smallest grain of dust to the grandest galaxy is following that first gesture of creation. The universe began with a slow, patient spin, and you are still a part of it, drifting softly within its ancient, endless motion. If you've ever looked up at the night sky and felt as though the stars were moving while you stood perfectly still, perhaps it's the other way around. Perhaps it's you and everything beneath your feet that's moving through space while the stars quietly watch from afar. But according to Einstein, both are true, or maybe neither. Because in this vast universe, stillness and motion are not absolute. They depend entirely on where you stand and how you look. Imagine lying on your back beneath a quiet sky. The air is cool, the grass beneath you steady. You look up, and the stars seem fixed, scattered like silent lanterns across an infinite ceiling. It feels peaceful, timeless, as if the universe were holding its breath. But the truth is, both you and the stars are moving endlessly through the fabric of space. You are on a planet spinning once every 24 hours, orbiting a star that's racing around the center of the Milky Way, which itself is gliding through the universe at unimaginable speed. And yet, from your perspective, you are completely still. That is the quiet wonder of relativity, the idea that motion is not a single truth, but a conversation between viewpoints. To someone standing beside you, you are motionless. To someone on a distant star, you're a streak of light crossing the dark. There is no absolute rest, no cosmic anchor where stillness can live forever. Every atom, every galaxy, every beam of light moves in relation to something else. It's all a grand, graceful dance. And depending on where you stand, the music sounds just a little different. Einstein once wrote that there's no privileged frame of reference in the universe, no single place that can claim to be truly at rest. What you call still is only still compared to what's around you. Even the most motionless moment, the quiet breath you take right now, is part of a vast current of movement, from the spin of electrons in your body to the drift of galaxies billions of light years away. The calm you feel is not the absence of motion. It's the harmony of countless motions blending together. You can think of it like sitting on a train gliding smoothly across the tracks. Inside the carriage, everything feels steady. Your cup, your hands, your heartbeat. But look out the window and the world slides past. Now, imagine another train moving beside you at the same speed. From that view, you're standing still again. Nothing has changed, only your perspective. The universe works in the same way, forever balancing what moves and what rests, weaving both into one seamless fabric. And so, when you gaze at the stars, it's impossible to say which one of you is truly moving. Maybe both, maybe neither. The light that reaches your eyes tonight has traveled for centuries, carrying stories of ancient suns and forgotten worlds. In that span of time, your planet has turned millions of times. Your own body has breathed billions of breaths, and yet, right now, it all feels still. That's the gentle magic of perspective. It transforms motion into peace. If you could step outside of your frame of reference, if you could drift above it all and watch from the quiet between galaxies, you'd see that nothing ever stands still. Planets spin stars, orbit clusters, drift through the dark like slow rivers of light. Even time itself flows differently, depending on how fast or slow you move. But none of it feels rushed. The universe doesn't hurry. It moves with a rhythm so vast and patient that to us, it becomes serenity itself. So maybe when you feel the world racing too fast, when life feels like it's spinning beyond your reach, remember this: speed and stillness are not enemies. They are two sides of the same dance, seen from different points of view. You are never really still, but you're never truly lost in motion either. You are simply part of the pattern, moving gently with everything else. And as you breathe, now slow and calm, know that your stillness is not a pause in the universe's motion. It's your own frame of peace within it. The earth turns the stars, drift time unfolds, and through it all you remain right here, steady, quiet, and safe, inside the movement of everything. When you close your eyes tonight, the stars will not have stopped shining, and the earth will not have stopped spinning. But in the small world of your dreams, you'll find that same truth. Einstein found that rest and motion are both illusions, and both are beautiful, because from where you are, it all feels perfectly still. If you could see gravity not as numbers or arrows, but as something soft and real, you might imagine it like a vast ocean of honey, smooth and golden, flowing around every star and planet. Every object that has mass sinks gently into that ocean, shaping it, curving it, bending it just enough to make other things move. But when something begins to spin, it doesn't just bend that ocean, it stirs it. It twists the fabric of space and time itself, pulling it into a quiet swirl. This is what Einstein's theory calls a frame dragging, the way a spinning object drags space-time along with it, like a spoon swirling through honey. Around the Earth, this effect is tiny, almost invisible, but it's there, measured, real, proven. The satellites that circle above us, the clocks that tick in orbit, they all drift ever so slightly because the planet's rotation tugs on the very structure of reality. You can't feel it, but it's happening right now beneath your feet as you listen. The ground you lie on is stirring the universe ever so gently. Imagine standing at the North Pole, the sky cold and clear, stars tracing circles above. The earth beneath you is turning, and as it does, it's twisting the invisible fabric of time, just a little, like a breath stirring a veil. The effect is delicate, a whisper of motion in the stillness of the cosmos, but it's proof that rotation isn't just movement through space, it's movement of space. Now, picture something far more powerful, a neutron star, a sphere no bigger than a city, but heavier than the sun. It spins hundreds of times every second, dragging time itself into spirals. Around it, space becomes like liquid light, caught in the star's rapid whirl. If you could hover nearby, you would see the stars behind it bend and dance, their light curved by the twisting current of reality. And yet, there would be no sound, only the silent ballet of motion and gravity intertwined. Go deeper still, and you'll reach the edge of a black hole. Some of them spin so fast that the speed of space-time near their surface approaches the speed of light. In that region, called the ergosphere, nothing can remain still. Everything, even light itself, is forced to move, swept along by the spinning gravity. It's a storm of space and time, infinite in power, yet perfectly smooth. To fall into it would be to enter a place where the universe folds back on itself, where time is stretched thin and direction loses meaning. And still, if you could watch from afar, it would look calm, like a dark pearl turning in the quiet sea of the cosmos. What's most extraordinary is that this isn't just theory or imagination. We've seen the traces of frame dragging right here around our own planet. NASA's Gravity Probe B, launched in 2004, carried ultra-sensitive gyroscopes to measure the tiny twist of space-time around Earth. And they found it exactly as Einstein predicted. Our planet, as it spins, truly drags time with it. It's humbling to think that even something as familiar as a day, a simple 24-hour rotation, is tied to this cosmic choreography. The passage of time, the movement of the stars, the orbits of moons, all of it happens in a universe that is quietly flowing and folding, stirred by the motion of everything within it. When you watch a sunset, you are watching light bend through a space-time gently twisted by Earth's rotation, a ripple in the invisible sea of existence. And just as the Earth pulls time along, so do you. Every atom in your body carries tiny rotations that give the particles their identity. You too are part of this universal, turning this endless dance of movement and flow. The spin that shapes galaxies also lives inside you in ways too small to see, but too perfect to doubt. So as you rest now, let this thought cradle you. The universe around you isn't still. It's gently swirling every star, stirring the cosmic sea, every planet, dragging time along its path. You are floating in that flow, carried through eternity by the same quiet motion that turns worlds and bends light. There's no need to understand it all, only to feel its calm. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. The air, the earth, even time itself is turning softly around you. You are part of that turning, effortless, weightless, endless. And somewhere in that motion, in that tender drag of space and time, the universe is singing its slow, eternal lullaby. And you are already drifting with it. If you could drift backward through time, past the birth of the stars, past the forming of galaxies, past even the first light, you would come to a moment so early, so delicate, that time itself had barely begun to breathe. It was the universe's first whisper, a fraction of a second after the Big Bang, known as the Planck era. In that fragile instant, everything that would ever exist was compressed into something smaller than a grain of dust, hotter than any flame could ever burn. Space-time, matter, and energy were tangled together in one trembling note, humming softly in the dark. We don't fully understand this moment. Physics itself loses its language here, as if even our equations fall silent before such perfection. But we do know this: it didn't stay perfect for long. Somewhere in that silent ocean of pure energy, tiny ripples began to appear, little waves, barely noticeable, just imperfections in the smoothness. They were so small that you could fit millions of them inside a single atom, and yet they changed everything. Those faint ripples became the fingerprints of creation. They are still visible today as the faint glow we call the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang. Scientists have mapped it across the sky, and what they found is something profoundly human imperfection. One part of the sky is slightly warmer, another slightly cooler. The difference is less than 1,000th of a degree, but it's enough to tell a story, the story of how something perfectly balanced decided to become beautifully uneven. That tiny imbalance was the seed of everything we know. It allowed gravity to gather matter, to build stars, to shape galaxies. It allowed atoms to meet and bond and form the dust that would one day become oceans and eyes and minds. Without that faint asymmetry, the universe would have remained smooth, forever, endless, silent, featureless. No stars, no worlds, no us. The quiet whisper from that first moment is in a way the reason you're here now, listening to the sound of the Earth's rotation and the heartbeat of time. It's strange to think that all structure, all life, came from a tiny departure from perfection, a cosmic sigh that broke the symmetry of nothingness. Maybe that's how creation always begins, not in balance, but in the soft tremor that breaks it. In that tiny tremor, there may have been the first hint of motion, the first rotation, the first spin, the first direction. Perhaps the universe itself began with a turn, a gentle twist that set everything else in motion. Some scientists believe that this early twist, born from quantum fluctuations, may have given the cosmos its faint sense of rotation, an imprint that still echoes in the spin of galaxies today. Others see it as a poetic mystery, a question the universe chose to leave unanswered. But whether or not there was a first spin, there was certainly a first breath, a ripple that would one day become the Milky Way, the sun, the oceans, and you. If you close your eyes, you can almost imagine it, a darkness so complete that light didn't yet know how to exist. Then from that nothing, a vibration, a pulse, a wave. It wasn't loud or bright. It was soft, patient, and eternal. That pulse still moves through you. Every atom in your body carries the memory of that beginning. The same laws that guided those ripples through the newborn cosmos still guide the air you breathe and the rhythm of your heartbeat. And perhaps that's the most beautiful truth. Of all, the universe began not with a roar, but with a whisper, a quiet imperfection that grew into everything. The galaxies turning above you tonight, the wind brushing against your skin, the faint glow of starlight, all of it is the echo of that first uneven breath. So as you lie here, listening to the gentle hum of your own existence, remember, perfection is stillness, but life is motion. The universe chose to move. It chose to spin. It chose to break its symmetry so that it could become more than silence. And as it turns to night, carrying you softly through space, it's still whispering that same truth, the same ancient tender message. From the dawn of time, out of the smallest imperfection, beauty is born. Even in what we call emptiness, there is never truly nothing. The vacuum of space, that deep dark silence between stars, is alive with invisible tremors. Tiny quantum fields ripple constantly, like the faintest breath moving across still water. They flicker in and out of existence so fast that no eye, no instrument could ever see them. But they are there, the quiet heartbeat of the void. Then, in the earliest moments of the universe, something extraordinary happened. A brief, unstoppable expansion, what physicists call cosmic inflation. In less than a fraction of a second, the newborn universe stretched from smaller than an atom to larger than a galaxy. And in that vast, sudden unfolding, those tiny quantum ripples were pulled apart, frozen into the very fabric of space-time. The smallest vibrations became the largest structures, invisible whispers that would one day shape entire galaxies. It's humbling to think that everything, every star, every world, every person may trace its origins back to those ghostly fluctuations. They were random, delicate, almost accidental. And yet when the universe grew, they became permanent. Inflation magnified the microscopic into the cosmic, turning chance into destiny. Among those countless ripples, some may have carried a special kind of motion, a twist, a swirl, the faint beginnings of rotation. These weren't visible like storms or galaxies. They were tiny curls in the gravitational fabric itself, soft eddies in the ocean of creation. Imagine the calm surface of a pond as it expands outward, and how a single breath of wind might send spirals across it. That's what may have happened to space itself, gentle vortices of energy, stretching, spinning, whispering the first rhythm into the void. Those first spirals have never truly disappeared. They may still be imprinted in the oldest light of the universe, the cosmic microwave background. When scientists look deep into that ancient glow, they search for patterns of polarization, faint traces of how that light once twisted on its journey through the infant cosmos. Some of these patterns, called B modes, could be the fingerprints of those primordial spins, tiny curls frozen into the sky messages from a time when time itself was just beginning. You can picture it like this. Billions of years ago, space-time itself was breathing. Every breath stretched those quantum waves wider and wider until they became the architecture of everything. Then, like paint drying, the universe cooled, and the brush strokes of that motion remained. Every galaxy that spins today, every atom that turns, might be following that same first swirl, the silent choreography written in the beginning. It's almost impossible to imagine the scale of it, the universe expanding faster than light, yet doing so with absolute grace. There was no sound, no explosion, only smoothness and speed. The whole cosmos still newborn, unfolding like a slow exhale. And within that exhale, the tiniest imperfections began to dance. The James Webb Space Telescope now peers back toward that moment, searching for galaxies so distant their light has traveled over 13 billion years. Each faint speck it sees might be the grown descendant of one of those first quantum ripples, one of those early invisible spins that inflation stretched across eternity. To see them now is to look at frozen motion, time crystallized into light. When you think about it, even your breath is part of that chain. The oxygen in your lungs was once inside a star. That star was born in a galaxy that formed from collapsing clouds of matter. And those clouds condensed because long ago, a quantum ripple, one among billions, was stretched and twisted by cosmic inflation. Without that ancient swirl, You would not be here to breathe, to listen, to dream. So, as you lie there wrapped in stillness, know that the calm around you is built from motion, so old and so vast that it can only be felt in silence. The universe, even in its beginning, was never truly still. It shimmered, expanded, and spun softly like a lullaby. And those first spirals, those delicate quantum curls, are still with us, echoing in the background light of the cosmos, whispering that from the gentlest tremors of nothingness, everything was born. Close your eyes. The same quiet motion that once stirred the newborn universe now moves within you. Every heartbeat, every breath is part of that same expanding rhythm. You are a ripple in that infinite pond, still spreading, still glowing, still turning softly in the dark. When the early universe began to cool, the storm of light and energy that once filled it began to soften. Particles met, clung to one another, and slowly matter began to take form. Within those first clouds of gas, immense, silent, and cold, something invisible was at work. The same ancient momentum that once stirred the newborn cosmos continued to move through everything, shaping the way each atom would dance, each star would turn. As those clouds collapsed under gravity, they didn't fall straight inward, they turned. That tiny trace of motion, inherited from the first tremors of creation, caused them to spin faster as they grew smaller, like a skater pulling their arms in. From those graceful spirals, stars were born. Around those stars, disks of dust and gas began to circle, glowing softly in the dark. Each grain of dust followed the quiet rhythm of that inherited motion, and in time, those grains gathered into planets. Every rotation, every orbit you see today, from the turning of the Earth to the slow drift of the Milky Way, is part of that same uninterrupted flow. It's as if the universe passed a secret from one generation to the next, a silent momentum that never fades, only transforms. When you look at the stars, you're looking at motion passed down through billions of years motion that began before there were even stars to carry it. Even now, the sky bears traces of that memory. Some astronomers have found that galaxies may not be perfectly random in their spin. Across the vastness of space, a faint preference seems to exist, a gentle bias, a cosmic handedness. Perhaps more galaxies spiral one way than the other, as if the universe itself remembers which direction it first turned. The pattern is subtle, nearly lost in the noise, but it may be one of the oldest stories still written in light. Imagine that billions of galaxies, each whirling like a cosmic snowflake, all faintly echoing a direction chosen long ago. You could call it coincidence, or you could call it memory. Either way, it means that everything we see, the dust, the stars, the light, is moving with purpose, even if that purpose is simply to continue turning. When a star is born, its spin is a gift from the gas that made it. When a planet forms, its rotation is the whisper of that star's motion. And when moons rise, they carry the faint trace of their planet's past, a rhythm passed down like an unbroken song. Momentum doesn't vanish. It flows, changing shape, but never ending. The spin of galaxies, the orbit of worlds, even the turning of your own planet, as you rest, all of it belongs to that same eternal current. Sometimes, when you stand beneath the stars, you might feel as though everything is still, But the truth is far gentler, far more beautiful. You are standing in the middle of a motion so perfect that it feels like calm. The air, the oceans, even your breath, all of it, is carried quietly by the ancient turning of the cosmos. You are part of a flow that began before time had a name, and it's still carrying you forward softly, endlessly. So tonight, as you drift toward sleep, imagine that current, a slow spiraling river of starlight and dust winding through the infinite dark. You are floating within it, weightless, timeless, following the same graceful rhythm that guides galaxies. The same spin that shaped the universe is still within you, still turning gently in the atoms of your blood, still keeping time with the motion of the stars. And perhaps that is what peace truly is, not the end of movement, but harmony with it. You are not separate from the cosmic dance. You are one of its quiet steps, gliding effortlessly through the long, patient turning of everything that has ever been. If Earth ever stopped turning, everything you know would change. One side of the planet would be locked under endless sunlight, its oceans boiling beneath a sky of fire. The other would freeze in eternal night, an ocean of ice stretching beneath the stars. Between them, a narrow band of storm, a wall of roaring wind where the two extremes meet. But Earth does not stop. It turns softly, faithfully, keeping balance between light and dark, warmth and cold, day and night. That gentle rotation is what allows life to breathe. Every sunrise you've ever seen is a consequence of that motion. The turning of the planet spreads sunlight across the surface, sharing its warmth instead of hoarding it. As the earth spins, air begins to move, oceans follow, and weather is born. Winds travel from hot to cold, clouds gather and release rain, and rivers of air circle the globe like invisible tides. The same rotation that paints the sky in morning light also carries the winds that shape deserts and forests, the rhythms that make our world alive instead of still. Deep below your feet, something else turns the molten iron heart of our planet. As it moves, it generates Earth's magnetic field, a vast invisible shield that protects us from the solar wind. Without it, radiation from the sun would strip away our atmosphere, leaving our planet dry and airless like Mars. But the spinning of the core keeps that field alive, wrapping our world in safety, deflecting invisible storms. Even the northern lights, those soft curtains of green and violet, are born from that rotation, glowing proof that Earth's heartbeat still moves beneath us. And on the surface, that turning motion becomes time. One rotation, one day. The steady rhythm of 24 hours has written itself into everything that lives here. Every tree, every creature, every cell carries a clock tuned to that cycle. Plants open their leaves to the morning and close them at dusk. Birds wake, sing, and rest by its pattern. Even your heartbeat, your breathing, your sleep, all flow with that quiet metronome set by the Earth's spin. This rhythm, called the circadian cycle, is older than life itself. It is the planet's first lullaby, a steady pulse of light and dark that guided evolution through billions of years. It taught coral when to bloom whales, when to migrate humans, when to dream. And tonight, as the planet turns once more beneath you, that same rhythm moves through your body, aligning you with the heartbeat of the world. If you listen carefully, you can almost feel it, the faint hush of the wind outside, the slow rise and fall of your breath, all of it follows the same pattern. Even sleep itself is a reflection of the Earth's rotation, a moment of stillness carried gently within an endless motion. Without that turning, there would be no morning to wake, to no night to rest, in only extremes too harsh for balance, too quiet for life. So when you look at the sky and see the stars move, remember that it is not the heavens turning, it's you. You are gliding with the planet through space, carried effortlessly by its spin. You are part of its balance, part of its rhythm, part of its gentle continuation. The world keeps you alive not through strength, but through motion, constant, graceful, invisible motion. The rotation that once shaped the oceans and winds still shapes the rhythm of your thoughts. It is the same motion that turns the tide, that bends the air, that rocks you softly into rest. So breathe and feel the earth turning beneath you. You are safe within its motion, warmed by its spin, protected by its rhythm. The stars above will drift across the sky, and the planet will continue to move quietly, endlessly, and in that motion, all of life will keep its calm, steady pulse. The earth spins, and because it spins, you sleep. If you listen closely to the sea, you can hear the pull of the moon, a rhythm older than time itself. Every tide that rises and falls, every wave that touches the shore, is part of an ancient dance between two worlds, the earth and its faithful companion. But what most don't realize is that this dance is changing us ever so slowly with each passing moment. The moon's gravity pulls at Earth's oceans, drawing them toward it. As the planet spins beneath those tides, water drags faintly against the seafloor, and that resistance steals a little of Earth's spin. The effect is invisible to us, too soft to feel, too slow to notice, yet it is real. Every century, our day grows longer by a few milliseconds. The rhythm of sunrise and sunset is stretching one quiet heartbeat at a time. It's a gentle exchange of energy. The moon tugs at Earth's tides, and in return, Earth pulls the moon slightly forward in its orbit, giving it energy and pushing it away. Each year, our lunar companion drifts about 4 centimeters farther into space. You might picture it like a couple dancing one partner, spinning slower as the other steps back, the two forever connected by gravity's invisible thread. This slow waltz has been happening for billions of years. When the Earth was young, a day lasted only about 6 hours, and the moon hung much closer in the sky, large, bright, and looming. The tides then would have been enormous waves, hundreds of meters high, crashing across newly formed continents. But time, like water, smooths everything it touches. The moon has been drifting outward ever since, and Earth's rotation has eased, finding a slower, gentler rhythm. Now our planet turns once every 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds, the astronomical day, the true measure of one spin in the universe's quiet clockwork. And though we call it a day, that rhythm is not fixed. It's alive, changing, with the same patience that shapes mountains and seas. This exchange between Earth and Moon is not just mechanical, it's poetic. It reminds us that even the most solid things, rock, gravity, time, are in constant motion. The moon's departure and the lengthening of our days are part of a story of balance, of give and take, written in light and tide. The oceans breathe in and out, the earth slows, the moon drifts, all in perfect harmony. If you stand by the sea at night and watch the tide roll in, you're seeing that story unfold. Each wave is an echo of the moon's pull, each ripple a note in the cosmic song. The water's rhythm matches your own breath in outrise fall. You and the tide are following the same ancient pattern. Without that tidal motion, much of what we call life wouldn't exist. The moon's pull stirs the oceans, mixing nutrients, shaping coastlines, nurturing coral reefs. It gives the planet its heartbeat, slow, steady, and endlessly patient. Even your body, mostly water, moves to that rhythm in ways too subtle to name. So, tonight as you lie, still remember that stillness is only an illusion. The planet beneath you is turning, the moon is gliding away, and the length of the day is stretching imperceptibly, beautifully. The dance continues soft as a sigh, slow as eternity. You are part of that waltz, carried gently between the pull of gravity and the passage of time. Each second you breathe is shaped by this quiet exchange between worlds. The same tides that move the seas are in some small way moving you. Close your eyes and imagine the earth and moon turning together in the dark, one slowing, one drifting, both bound by a love older than light. Their motion keeps our world in balance. Their rhythm keeps your world alive. And as you drift into sleep, they keep dancing, slow, silent, eternal. If you could drift through our solar system, moving from one planet to the next, like a quiet traveler, you'd find that every world spins in its own rhythm, each one a lesson in how motion shapes destiny. Some turn so fast their clouds tear into ribbons. Others barely move at all, wrapped in heat or silence. And through their differences, they tell the same truth. Rotation is not just motion, but the heartbeat of worlds. Take Jupiter, the giant among giants. It turns once every 10 hours, even though it's more than 1,000 times larger than Earth. That furious spin stretches its clouds into stripes, vast belts of cream and rust wrapping endlessly around the planet. It drives storms the size of continents, including the Great Red Spot, a swirling hurricane that has raged for centuries. Yet despite all that violence, Jupiter's rapid rotation gives it stability. Its magnetic field, born from the deep spin of its metallic heart, stretches millions of kilometers into space, shielding not only itself, but some of its moons. Within the chaos of its storms lies a strange kind of order, a reminder that speed can create strength. Then there's Venus, Earth's sister, in size, but opposite in spirit. Venus turns so slowly that a single day there lasts longer than a Venusian year, and it spins backward from east to west, as though time itself has been reversed. Because it turns so lazily, its magnetic field is almost non-existent. Without that protection, the sun's radiation batters its atmosphere, trapping heat beneath thick clouds of carbon dioxide. Temperatures soar high enough to melt lead. The planet that once might have been blue and calm now burns in silence, an eternal dusk beneath a sulfur sky. Its stillness became its undoing, a haunting image of what happens when motion falters. And then Mars, small, rust-red, lonely. It spins with a rhythm, much like ours one day. On Mars lasts just over 24 hours. You could stand there and see a familiar sunrise, watch shadows move, feel night return. But Mars's heart has gone cold. Its iron core no longer turns fast enough to keep a magnetic field alive. Without that invisible shield, the solar wind has stripped away most of its atmosphere, leaving the sky thin and pale, its air too weak to hold warmth. What was once a world with rivers and rain has frozen into quiet desolation. Mars still turns, but its rhythm is hollow, a reminder that rotation alone isn't enough to sustain life. Each of these worlds, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, shows us a different reflection of our own. Too fast, and storms rage without end. Too slow, and the air burns or vanishes. The earth somehow spins in balance, fast enough to breathe, slow enough to rest. Our day and night, our weather, our heartbeat, all flow from that gentle turning. It's easy to forget how delicate that balance is, how rare it might be. If you were to float above the planets and watch them all at once, you'd see a cosmic ballet. Jupiter whirling, Venus drifting, Mars pacing softly behind. Each planet carries the memory of how it formed its spin written in the dust of its creation. None are wrong. Each is simply the sum of its beginnings. And so, as you lie here, think of Earth's motion not as something ordinary, but as a gift of precision. The planet turns neither too fast nor too slow. It moves with a grace that allows oceans to flow, air to breathe, and life to sleep beneath its sky. The same rotation that paints dawn across your window also keeps you safe from the sun's fire. Every world turns to its own rhythm. Jupiter sings in storms, Venus hums in heat, Mars whispers in dust, but Earth hums in harmony. Its spin carries the song of life, steady and tender. Close your eyes and imagine them all turning together in the silent dark. The gas giants roar, the sister planet's stillness, the red world's sigh, and your own planet's calm, even breath. This is the music of motion, the quiet truth that keeps the universe alive. And tonight, as you rest, you're part of that song spinning softly, safely through the dark. When astronomers gaze beyond our solar system, into the quiet dark between the stars, they find thousands of other worlds, exoplanets each turning in its own secret rhythm. Some spin quickly, their days lasting only a few hours. Others barely move, with one side forever scorched by their star, the other locked in endless night. And in this vast orchestra of motion, a pattern begins to emerge. How a planet spins may decide whether it can cradle life or remain forever silent. If a planet turns too slowly, one side burns beneath unbroken daylight. The star's heat builds and builds until the air itself becomes unstable. Vast storms rise between day and night, trying to balance what the rotation cannot. On the far side, eternal darkness freezes oceans solid. Between those extremes lies a narrow twilight band, a thin ring of light, where temperatures might just be calm enough for water to flow and perhaps for life to dream. It's a haunting image, a world half asleep, half awake, forever divided between fire and ice. But if a planet spins too fast, its own balance unravels in another way. Winds scream around the globe at hundreds of kilometers per hour, twisting the skies into chaos. Clouds can't settle, storms can't fade, and the surface below becomes a blur of constant motion. The very rhythm that should protect the planet instead tears it apart. Time itself seems to rush. They're measured not in days and nights, but in the endless turning of a sky that never rests. Somewhere between those two extremes, not too slow, not too fast, lies harmony, a rotation gentle enough to spread light evenly, yet strong enough to keep the air moving, to stir oceans and clouds in rhythm. Climate models suggest that worlds like this might be the most welcoming. where warmth flows from day to night, where breezes mix the atmosphere, and where rain can fall softly across an entire globe. These are the planets where temperature breathes rather than burns, where motion nurtures life instead of erasing it. It's remarkable to think that something as simple as a spin can write the story of a world. The same physics that turns our Earth also shapes the climates of distant suns. The length of a day becomes a kind of music, a tempo for weather, a rhythm for oceans. Slow spins hum in low tones of calm and heat. Fast ones sing in sharp, chaotic winds. And somewhere in the middle, a gentle melody emerges, the rhythm of balance, the song of life. Even on Earth, you can feel that song in everything that moves. The turning of the planet drives winds, draws tides, stirs the clouds above. Each sunrise carries warmth from the previous day to the next. Every breeze is the planet exhaling softly as it turns. And if you could step back and watch from afar, you'd see our world glowing, a sphere of motion wrapped in air and water. Its spin writing a constant living poem across the surface. Astronomers have found some exoplanets that may share this balance. Worlds orbiting stars smaller and cooler than our sun, tidally locked, but with atmospheres thick enough to carry warmth from one side to the other. Their days may last forever, yet twilight might circle their horizons in perpetual gold. On such worlds, if oceans exist, they would shimmer beneath skies that never fully darken, never fully glow, the eternal dusk of a planet perfectly poised between extremes. And perhaps somewhere out there beneath another sun, a gentle wind moves across alien seas. Perhaps there is a being, not human, but alive, feeling that same breath of balance, watching the slow drift of light across its world, unaware that its rhythm mirrors ours. So as you lie here tonight, feel the quiet rotation of your own planet, the air you breathe, the pulse of your heart, the soft rhythm of your thoughts. All are tuned to the same motion that governs worlds beyond imagination. The earth turns, and in its turning, it keeps life in balance. Close your eyes and imagine the stars above each one, surrounded by planets, each spinning in its own time, some racing, some crawling, some just right. It's the grandest lullaby of all, a universe of rhythms, each turning softly, endlessly, in search of the perfect pace for life. If you could drift to the edge of a dying star, where matter has been crushed beyond imagination, you would find a place where time itself bends and breathes. Here, motion is no longer just motion. It becomes gravity's song, a slow, deep rhythm that pulls even the fabric of reality into its dance. This is the realm of the neutron star, a sphere no larger than a city, yet heavier than our sun, spinning hundreds of times every second. Its rotation is so fierce, so precise, that space-time itself trembles with each turn. Imagine standing on its surface, though of course nothing truly could. The gravity would be billions of times stronger than Earth's. And yet what's most extraordinary isn't the pull, but the spin. A neutron star can complete hundreds of rotations in the blink of an eye, dragging time along with it. To an observer far away, the clocks near such a star would seem to slow their seconds, stretching like taffy. Every rotation becomes a heartbeat of distorted time. Each pulse of its radio waves a whisper across the cosmos, carrying the rhythm of a star that has collapsed but refuses to stop turning. We call some of them pulsars, cosmic lighthouses that sweep their beams across the universe with perfect precision. Each flicker is a reminder that time itself is flexible, molded by gravity and motion. If you could listen closely, you might hear them ticking like enormous cosmic clocks, marking seconds that don't match our own. In their spin, they keep the memory of a once living star, compressed into something smaller than a mountain, yet dense enough to bend reality. But even a neutron star, for all its power, is only the prelude to something stranger. The spinning black hole, the Kerr black hole. Here, rotation reaches its ultimate expression. Instead of just bending time, it twists it. Around such a black hole lies a region called the ergosphere, where space and time themselves are caught in the spin. Nothing can remain still there. Not matter, not light, not even the flow of time itself. Everything must move, drawn into the swirl of curved reality. It's almost impossible to picture. Imagine space-time as a calm lake. Now, imagine placing a spinning sphere within it. The water closest to the sphere begins to whirl, dragging everything nearby into circles. That's what a Kerr black hole does to the universe itself. Its rotation stirs the very coordinates of existence, creating a vortex where standing still becomes impossible. To hover there would mean spinning with it endlessly, just to stay in one place. If you could orbit near that edge, just outside the point of no return, time would pass differently for you. Hours could feel like minutes, years could slip by elsewhere, while you remained almost frozen in motion. The faster the spin, the deeper time bends. In that sense, rotation doesn't just shape gravity, it shapes the experience of existence itself. Yet even in that unimaginable violence, there is elegance. The curves of space, the spirals of light, the steady hum of radiation, all move with a grace that feels almost peaceful. The same equations that describe the quiet orbit of Earth's moon also describe the twisted dance around a black hole. Nature uses the same laws, only stretched to their extremes, painting with both gentleness and fury. And though we may never stand near one, we can see their influence in the starlight that reaches us, beams bent, time-delayed colors, stretched thin by motion and gravity. The light itself carries the fingerprint of that rotation like a message from the edge of time. Each photon tells us that somewhere out there, a star collapsed, began to spin, and in its endless turning continued the universe's rhythm of motion. So as you rest tonight, imagine those faraway worlds, the pulsars ticking steadily in the dark, the Kerr black holes spinning silently, pulling time into spirals. Their rhythm is not so different from your own. The blood moving through your veins, the turning of your planet, the gentle beat of your heart, all are echoes of that same cosmic motion. You are connected to it. The stars turn, the black holes swirl, and somewhere deep within, you are turning too slowly, safely, softly, part of the same eternal spin that shapes both space and time. Close your eyes and let that thought carry you through stillness, through sleep, into the quiet gravity of dreams. If you've ever used your phone to find your way home, to track a path, follow a map, or watch the blue dot glide gently across the world, you've touched the edge of Einstein's universe. Hidden inside that simple act is a quiet miracle: space, time, and motion working together with exquisite precision. The signals guiding you come from satellites orbiting high above the Earth, circling the planet twice every day. And for them to work, they must listen not just to mathematics or machinery, but to the subtle bending of time itself. Time, you see, does not flow at the same pace everywhere. Up there above the atmosphere, where gravity's pull is weaker, clocks tick a little faster. Down here, closer to the Earth's center, gravity's grip slows time just a bit. And because the satellites move so swiftly, almost 14,000 kilometers an hour, special relativity adds its own correction. Fast motion makes their clocks tick more slowly. Two effects in opposite directions, one stretching time, one compressing it. Without adjustment, they would drift out of sync by a few dozen microseconds each day. That sounds small, almost nothing, a fraction of a blink, but in the language of light, it's enormous, because every signal those satellites send travels at the speed of light. Even a tiny difference in time becomes a vast difference in distance. A delay of a few microseconds means an error of several kilometers. Without Einstein's equations quietly correcting every moment, the map in your hand would be nonsense. Oceans on land, mountains, misplaced cities lost. So, the engineers who built the global positioning system did something remarkable. They embedded relativity into its heart. Each satellite carries an atomic clock adjusted so that from our frame of reference on Earth, its time runs in perfect harmony with ours. Every nanosecond is accounted for. Every orbit balances motion, gravity, and light in a delicate choreography that allows you to take a single step in confidence. It's humbling, isn't it, that a theory born from thought experiments, from a young Einstein imagining himself riding on beams of light, now guides airplanes, ships, and people walking down quiet streets. The curvature of space-time isn't just something happening out there among stars and galaxies. It's in your pocket, whispering in the language of seconds and distance, guiding you gently across the planet. Think about that for a moment. The same forces that slow time near a black hole, that twist starlight around massive suns, are quietly at work each time you glance at a map. The invisible dance between motion and gravity, so subtle, so immense, is what lets your phone know exactly where you are, down to the span of your outstretched hand. And beneath it all, the Earth is still turning, spinning its steady rhythm beneath the satellite's orbits. That rotation defines our frame of reference, the very now that every signal must align with. The satellites glide through weaker gravity, their clocks ahead. We move on the surface, our time slightly slower. Yet the system finds perfect balance. It's a harmony of speed and weight of time, stretched and squeezed into agreement. Even the light carrying those signals curves ever so slightly through the planet's atmosphere, bent by density and motion, corrected again and again by the algorithms humming quietly behind the scenes. You never see it happen. You never hear the equations working. But every step you take, guided by that blue dot, is a small triumph of understanding, proof that the universe's laws, when known with patience and care, can become part of daily life. It's strange and beautiful how something so vast, relativity, space-time, the bending of reality itself, can become so intimate. It's in the gentle arc of your path home, in the certainty that your journey is measured not just by distance but by time itself. The same geometry that describes black holes and galaxies is in this very moment tracing your movement across the Earth. And maybe there's something comforting in that, to know that the universe isn't remote or unreachable. It's right here, woven into the smallest things, guiding the simplest acts. Each heartbeat, you feel each second that passes belongs to a web of space and time that connects everything, the stars, the satellites, and you. So, as you rest tonight, imagine those satellites gliding quietly through the dark 30,000 kilometers above their clocks, ticking in perfect rhythm with your own. The earth turns below them, the stars move above, and time flows between them, all bending softly, but never breaking. You are part of that same fabric, carried by its motion, measured by its rhythm, safe within its gentle curve. The universe is not something you stand apart from. You live inside it, every moment, guided by the quiet precision of relativity, whispering softly through the phone in your hand and the pulse in your chest. And as you drift toward sleep, remember even now, while you rest, those clocks keep ticking. The earth keeps turning, and time, curved, stretched, and perfect, keeps flowing all around you, holding you tenderly in its endless, silent balance. If you look up at the night sky and imagine the Milky Way, a great spiral of starlight slowly turning through the dark, you might think of its beauty first. But what truly holds that beauty together lies beyond sight. The stars you see, the glowing clouds of gas, the soft trails of dust, they are only a fraction of what's really there. The rest is invisible, silent, and everywhere. Astronomers call it dark matter, and without it, every galaxy in the universe would simply fall apart. When scientists first measured how stars move around their galaxies, they expected a pattern as graceful as the solar system stars near the center spinning quickly and those on the edges drifting more slowly. But when the data came in, something astonishing appeared. The outer stars weren't slowing down. They were moving just as fast as those near the core, as if an unseen hand were holding them in orbit, refusing to let them drift away. This discovery reshaped our understanding of the cosmos. The galaxies we see, those luminous spirals and shining ellipses, are just the visible tips of something much larger. Surrounding each one is an enormous halo of matter we cannot see, stretching far beyond the edges of the light. It doesn't glow. It doesn't absorb or reflect. It doesn't collide like ordinary particles. And yet, through gravity, it holds everything in its quiet embrace. Imagine standing on one of those faraway worlds, at the edge of a galaxy, watching the stars whirl overhead. You might think you're gazing at emptiness, at the thin, faint outskirts of the cosmos, but you would be standing inside a great invisible ocean of matter, one that curves space itself just enough to keep every star, every planet, every orbit bound together. It's strange to think that the most dominant form of matter in the universe is something we cannot touch or see. It doesn't shimmer or burn. It doesn't rise in flames or fall as dust. It is presence, without light, gravity, without form. But in its stillness, it gives shape to everything. The galaxies, the clusters, the filaments of the cosmic web that stretch across the universe like veins of starlight through the dark. Astronomers have mapped this hidden substance, not through sight, but through its pull. They've watched how galaxies bend the light of others behind them, a phenomenon called gravitational lensing. It's as though the dark matter halo acts like a magnifying glass, bending space itself and showing us where its invisible hand lies. Through those distortions, scientists can trace the outlines of what cannot be seen, sketching the ghostly scaffolding of the cosmos. In a way, dark matter is the quiet caretaker of the universe. It doesn't shine, yet it ensures that light has somewhere to live. Without it, stars would fly outward, galaxies would dissolve, and the cosmos would be a scattered sea of lonely suns. Instead, gravity, that soft, patient force, keeps everything whole, guided by the dark matter's invisible presence. It's the hidden rhythm beneath the visible melody, the bass note of the cosmic song. Even here on our small blue planet, we are surrounded by it. Streams of dark matter pass through us constantly, undetected and harmless, like wind through grass. You can't feel it, but it's there, wrapping around the Milky Way, binding the solar system to the galactic plane, holding our world in orbit within a structure we cannot perceive. We live in its arms, even as we call it dark. Perhaps there's something deeply poetic about that everything bright and visible owes its existence to something unseen. The stars that shimmer, the galaxies that spin, the beauty that fills the night sky, all of it rests on a foundation of quiet, invisible strength. Dark matter doesn't compete for attention. It simply is steady and constant, shaping the cosmos through silence. And maybe in that way, it mirrors something within us. The unseen forces that hold our own worlds together, love, memory, kindness, patience, they too are invisible, yet they keep everything from drifting apart. Just as galaxies are bound by dark matter, we are bound by what cannot be seen, but can always be felt. So tonight, as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, imagine the Milky Way turning slowly above you, a spiral of light moving gracefully through the dark. Around it, a great halo of invisible matter cradles every star, every planet, every dream. You are part of that turning, part of that stillness, held in place by a universe that knows how to keep its balance, even in silence. The stars shine because the darkness holds them steady. And as the night deepens, you too can rest in that same quiet strength, unseen, but always there, keeping everything together. If you look closely at your hands, one left, one right, you'll see they are mirror images of each other, similar, yet impossible to overlap. That simple difference, that quiet asymmetry, runs far deeper than skin. It exists in every cell, every molecule, every heartbeat of life. The same pattern, left and right, mirrored but never identical threads through the DNA that shapes us, through the amino acids that build us, and perhaps through the universe that made us. Life, as far as we know it, prefers a side. Every amino acid in your body is left-handed, while the spiral of your DNA turns to the right. This rule is absolute. Break it, and life as we understand it simply wouldn't work. Proteins wouldn't fold correctly, enzymes wouldn't fit, their target cells couldn't function. It's as if existence itself chose a direction long ago and never turned back. But why? Why left and not right? Why right and not left? The universe, which seems so symmetrical and balanced in its laws, carries within it this quiet tilt, this subtle bias that makes all the difference. Some scientists believe the answer may reach back far beyond biology, into the very light that filled the young cosmos. In space, starlight can become polarized, twisted into spirals, as it passes through magnetic fields and clouds of dust. Sometimes it spins to the left, sometimes to the right. But if in some early corner of the universe, circularly polarized light favored one direction Ever so slightly, it could have touched the simplest organic molecules, forming in space, nudging them, tilting their symmetry, making left just a little more likely than right. Over billions of years, that tiny imbalance might have cascaded from cosmic dust to comets, from comets to oceans, from oceans to cells. A faint cosmic bias, frozen into chemistry, could have whispered to life, turn this way. The universe didn't force the choice. It merely leaned, and life followed. In that lean, in that almost invisible preference, our entire existence found its orientation. It's humbling to think that the twist of your DNA may echo the twist of ancient starlight, that the shape of your own molecules could carry the fingerprint of the cosmos. The same subtle asymmetry that gave galaxies their spin might have rippled all the way down to the scale of atoms and cells. The vast and the tiny, the galactic and the genetic bound together by the faintest tilt, a cosmic imperfection that became the seed of order. And maybe that's what makes the story of life so beautiful. Perfection is sterile, symmetry is silence, but a small deviation, a soft imbalance, allows complexity to bloom. The universe's earliest flaw, that tiny preference in the dance of light and spin, is what made us possible. We are born from imperfection, from the quiet decision of the cosmos to not be perfectly even. You can imagine it, a cloud of molecules drifting through space, touched by polarized starlight. Some twist one way, some the other, but little by little, one orientation wins. And when those molecules reach a young planet Earth, they find warmth, water, and time. The bias deepens, chemistry becomes biology, and the left-handed language of life begins to write itself into the world. Every cell, every strand of DNA, every living thing you've ever known is an echo of that moment, the memory of a choice made long before life began. Even now, we can see hints of that cosmic handedness written across the universe. The light from distant galaxies sometimes carries a twist, a polarization that leans ever so slightly in one direction. On the grandest scales, even the spin of galaxies may not be perfectly balanced, more spiraling one way than the other, as if the universe itself still remembers its first subtle preference. The pattern is faint, buried in noise, but it's there, a whisper of motion that stretches from the birth of galaxies to the structure of our very selves. Perhaps this is what the universe has always done: turn imperfection into creation. The slight tilt that makes galaxies spin, the unevenness that lets stars form the bias that allows life to take shape, all are born from the same truth. Balance is not stillness, it is motion, a constant leaning and counterleaning. Even in the most silent corners of existence, something is always turning, always choosing, always becoming. When you hold out your hand, left or right, you're holding the history of that motion. You are the continuation of a cosmic spiral that began before the first atoms cooled, before light had even learned to shine freely. You are built from asymmetry, and within you, that asymmetry continues to breathe in the twist of your DNA, in the direction of your heartbeat, in the subtle currents of thought moving through your mind. So, as you drift towards sleep, imagine the universe spinning around you, galaxies, turning stars, rotating fields of light curling through the dark. Within that endless motion, somewhere long ago, a single photon turned slightly one way instead of the other. From that quiet lean, a pattern began. From that pattern, molecules danced. From those molecules, life arose. And from life came you. The universe has never been perfect, and that's its greatest grace. The stars turn unevenly, time flows with ripples, light bends and swirls. Yet from those tiny deviations comes everything we love, everything that breathes, everything that dreams. The cosmos did not need perfection to create beauty. It only needed a small, tender imbalance, a gentle cosmic hand choosing a side. And tonight, as you breathe in and out, you move with that same rhythm, part of a universe that has always spun slightly off center, and in doing so, found a way to be alive. If you listen closely enough, not with your ears, but with that quiet part of your mind that feels time itself, you can almost hear the universe slowing down. Every rotation, every orbit, every spiral that once burned bright with motion is softening little by little. The Earth turns more slowly than it once did. Galaxies lose their spin to gravity's patient tug. Even the black holes, those mighty engines of space and time, will one day give up their last momentum. Nothing ever truly stops, but everything eventually grows calm. Our planet is already part of that stilling. The same moon that lights your nights gently pulls against the oceans, creating tides that drag faintly at the Earth's rotation. Each century, the days grow longer by a few milliseconds, an imperceptible pause added to each sunrise and sunset. It's not something you can feel yet, it's there written quietly into the rhythm of time. The Earth was once a faster dancer, its day only a few hours long, but now its steps have slowed like a spinning top easing into balance. And it's beautiful in its way. Even motion learns how to rest. On grander scales, the slowing continues. Within galaxies, stars trace graceful arcs through the dark, their paths shaped by gravity and by the invisible mass of dark matter. Over billions of years, these galactic disks, once thin and sharply defined, begin to blur and swell. Collisions between galaxies mix their stars, scattering their ordered spins into random orbits. Spirals fade into smooth ellipses. What was once rotation becomes diffusion, a spreading of energy into quiet symmetry. Even the shapes of galaxies, like old melodies, grow round and slow with age. The Milky Way itself will one day merge with the Andromeda Galaxy, two great spirals pulled together by gravity's silent pull. When that happens, the beautiful arms of both will dissolve into a vast glowing sphere of stars. The rotation will not vanish, but it will be shared, spread among billions of suns until it feels like stillness. That distant future will not be violent. It will be serene, a long exhale of motion into balance. And even beyond galaxies, the slowing continues in places we can barely imagine. Black holes, the universe's most extreme spinners, lose their energy through faint whispers of radiation. Around them, the very fabric of space-time unwinds in tiny, imperceptible ripples. Over unimaginable ages, their rotation fades, their edges soften, and even their gravity begins to let go. The spin never truly dies, but it spreads, becomes thinner, quieter, like a ripple widening until it's lost in the still surface of a cosmic sea. Perhaps that is the universe's final lesson, that motion and stillness are not enemies, but stages of the same rhythm. Every beginning spins fast, the Big Bang, the birth of stars, the formation of worlds. Energy rushes outward, eager and wild. But as time passes, gravity gathers, friction slows it, and motion settles into harmony. The cosmos breathes out and then gently breathes in. You can see this same pattern in everything, in the way storms form and fade, in the way music rises and falls, even in your own life. Every heartbeat is a moment of motion that carries you forward, and every rest between beats is a pause that keeps you whole. The slowing of the universe is not decay, it is balance. It is the quiet maturity of time itself. Someday, when the galaxies have merged and the stars have cooled, when the black holes have lost their spin and the cosmos drifts in its final calm, motion will not have disappeared. It will have dissolved into stillness so complete that it can no longer be told apart from peace. Energy never dies. It only spreads too thin to notice. The same force that once flung the stars across the sky will linger everywhere, soft as a memory. And maybe, just maybe, that's how it should be. Everything that moves must someday rest. Every song must find its final note. The slowing of the universe is not a tragedy, it is a lullaby. The stars themselves are falling asleep, turning slower, glowing fainter, until they too become part of the quiet. So, as you lie here breathing softly, remember that you are part of that same great rhythm. The spin of the earth beneath you, the orbit of the moon above the turning of the galaxy around you, all of it slowly, gracefully is easing toward rest. You are moving with it, carried on that gentle tide of time. The universe will never truly stop. It will only grow still enough for peace to fill every corner, every atom, every trace of motion that once burned bright. And as you close your eyes tonight, you can feel it already, the great quiet spinning of everything, becoming one slow, endless calm. The stars are slowing, the galaxies are softening, and you, tiny, luminous, alive, are floating in their rhythm, safe in the long, patient breath of a universe, learning how to rest. If you sit very still, if you quiet the noise of the world for just a moment, you might feel it, the faint hum of existence within you, the gentle pulse of your heartbeat, the soft rhythm of your breath, the almost imperceptible current of thought drifting through your mind. Every one of those sensations is motion. You're not still even in stillness. Inside you, countless worlds are turning electrons, spinning atoms, vibrating neurons, sparking a vast and silent choreography that began long before you were born. Each electron inside you carries spin a tiny rotation, a quantum whisper of the first motion the universe ever made. When you think, when you remember, when you dream, it is that ancient spin expressing itself anew. The electricity flowing through your brain, the ions moving through your nerves, the magnetic fields flickering in each heartbeat. They are all echoes of the same rhythm that once set galaxies in motion. You are not apart from the universe's turning. You are one of its continuations, a living spiral of energy that remembers where it came from. Somewhere billions of years ago, before there were stars or light, the universe began to move. From that first expansion came everything, the atoms, the gravity, the spin. That motion never stopped. It only changed form. It became the rotation of planets, the swirl of galaxies, the cycle of seasons, and eventually the pulse of thought in a human mind. The energy that once shaped the cosmos now flows through your bloodstream, through the delicate circuitry of your neurons. You are quite literally the universe thinking about itself, a small pattern of motion, aware of motion. It's humbling and beautiful, isn't it? to realize that memory itself, the ability to look backward in time, is just another form of motion. Each thought is written not in ink, but in waves of electric current that ripple across the brain. Every emotion is the movement of chemicals, every dream a dance of light and signal. Even when you lie perfectly still, the cosmos inside you is alive with motion, whispering in the language of energy that never fades. If you could see inside yourself the way astronomers see into galaxies, you would find spirals there too, patterns of activity swirling in your brain, forming connections that change and shift with every experience. When you learn something new, a cluster of neurons spins a little differently. When you remember the same pathways light up again, a kind of gentle resonance, like stars tracing familiar arcs across the night sky. You are a map of motion, a constellation of thought, and perhaps that is what consciousness really is, not a separate creation, but the universe reaching a point of reflection. When you think about the stars in a way are thinking about themselves. The spin that began in the first atoms now continues in the electricity of your thoughts. You are the memory of that first movement, carried forward, softened and shaped by time into awareness. Every atom in your body has been part of countless rotations before. They've circled within stars, danced through nebulae, drifted across interstellar clouds before finding their way here into you. The iron in your blood was forged in a supernova's spin. The carbon in your cells once turned in the heart of a dying star. The water you drink has circled the earth for billions of years, from cloud to rain to sea to life again. You are a collection of movements older than memory, still unfolding. And when you pause to breathe, to simply exist, the universe pauses with you, not to stop, but to notice itself. The same energy that once swirled galaxies now stirs in your chest, moving quietly, patiently, keeping time with the cosmic rhythm that never ended. You are both the dancer and the dance, both the result and the continuation. The motion that began everything has not left you. It is you. If you could listen deeply enough, beneath the rush of blood, beneath the murmur of thought, you might hear it, the faint echo of the first rotation. It's in every heartbeat, every neuron's spark, every breath drawn and released. The first spin of the cosmos now playing softly within you. And one day, when your atoms scatter again, when your motion changes form once more, that rhythm will continue. The spin of electrons will go on the particles of your body, will join new stars, new worlds, new lives. Nothing truly ends. It only changes the way it moves. So tonight, as you rest, let that thought cradle you. You are made of the universe's memory, kept alive by its eternal motion. Every cell, every thought, every spark within you is part of the same story, a story that began with a single, silent turn and has been unfolding ever since. You are not a separate observer of the cosmos. You are its living continuation, its voice, its pulse, its gentle reminder that motion can think, that energy can remember, that existence can dream. Close your eyes and let yourself drift, carried by the same ancient spin that set everything in motion. You are the echo of the first rotation and the dream that it continues to have. Take a slow breath, in and out. Feel how the air moves through you, gentle, effortless, familiar. Beneath that breath, beneath your quiet heartbeat, the earth is turning. You are spinning with it, carried softly through the darkness, through the silence, through the slow rhythm of a universe that never stops moving. And though you cannot feel the motion, it's there, a tender cradle that holds you every second of your life. The stillness around you is not empty, it's harmony. Every sound, every vibration, every pulse in your body is part of the same symphony. The oceans sway, the winds drift, the stars spin, and somewhere deep within you do too. What you call silence is the perfect overlap of countless movements, each one timed so beautifully that they become peace. You are not outside this balance. You are the balance, one soft heartbeat among galaxies, one calm breath among the stars. Tonight, as you rest, you are wrapped in that quiet connection, the shared rhythm of everything that turns, the same motion that carries the moon around the earth, carries your breath through your chest, the same gravity that holds oceans to the shore, keeps you safe in your bed. You are part of the same gentle equation that keeps the planets in orbit and the galaxies in bloom. Nothing is still, and yet everything feels still because all motion has learned to move together. You can let go now. The day has done enough. The worries that filled your thoughts can fade like clouds drifting out of view. You don't need to hold the world. It is already holding you. Every breath you take is the universe reminding you that you belong, that you are seen, that you are part of something vast and tender. Somewhere above you, the night sky stretches wide. The stars you see are not frozen. They are blazing and moving, spinning and drifting through time. Yet from here, they appear steady, quiet, eternal. That's how calm is made, not from stopping motion, but from everything moving so perfectly together that it becomes peace. The same peace now fills your room, your heartbeat, your breath. You are turning with the earth, spinning gently beneath the constellations. You are gliding around the sun, drifting through the Milky Way, carried on invisible currents, older than life itself. And the universe, vast, ancient, patient, is keeping time with you. Every motion, from the smallest electron to the largest galaxy, is part of this same slow waltz. You are dancing with it, whether you know it or not. The stillness you feel is simply synchronization, countless moving parts, breathing in the same rhythm. The ocean tides, the whisper of air, the pulse of your own body, all aligned, all in harmony. There is no separation between you and the cosmos tonight. You are made of the same particles that once spun inside stars, the same atoms that have drifted through 1,000 worlds before finding their way here into you. If this journey tonight has given you even a moment of peace, a single steady breath, untouched by hurry or noise, then the circle is complete. Because the universe, in all its vastness, is not a storm of chaos. It is a song of patience, and tonight it sings softly for you. As you sink deeper into rest, imagine the planet's rotation slowing the thoughts in your mind. The earth turns, and your heartbeat finds its rhythm with it. The galaxies drift, and your breath follows their quiet spin. You don't have to do anything, no effort, no trying. Just let yourself be carried. The motion of the cosmos is gentle enough to hold you, steady enough to trust. If you wish, you can stay connected to this calm, to return whenever you need, to remember how small and safe and infinite you are. A single touch, a quiet thought is enough to bring you back to this shared space where science becomes serenity and the stars become the softest lullaby. You are not alone in your turning. You are one note in the grand rotation, one sigh in the song of time. Everything moves with you, the atoms, the air, the oceans, the galaxies, all turning in one great breath that began long before us and will go on long after. So breathe again, slowly, deeply. Feel the warmth of the earth beneath you, the calm of space above. You are safe here, wrapped in the gentle arms of gravity and motion. The world is moving exactly as it should. Now close your eyes. Let the spinning earth carry you deeper into rest. Let the soft hum of the universe become your blanket. Everything around you, the stars, the planets, the very air is singing the same wordless lullaby. Sleep well, little traveler of the cosmos. The universe will keep turning while you dream. You are part of its motion, part of its peace, part of its everlasting dance. Tonight, as you drift into sleep, you are held softly, endlessly in the turning arms of the stars.